As I noted, this week's Parsha, the Torah reading tomorrow, will focus in on Pinchas, that's the name of the Parsha, and will also later deal with succession, as Moses will empower Joshua to be his successor. For the rabbis of the Zohar and thereafter, reincarnation is a category. The idea that after someone dies, they're born again into a new person. And for the rabbis, Pinchas, the focus, the name of our Torah reading, he will later, they teach, be born as Elijah, Eliyahu Hanavi, the man we put out that cup of wine for at Pesach. There are more Jewish folk tales about Elijah than any biblical personality, for story told in the Bible is that at the time as he approached old age, he never died. He was taken heavenward in a fiery chariot. And so the rabbis imagine that Elijah comes and goes between heaven and earth, a guide to those who are here to anticipate a world of harmony. He will be the one, so the prophet Malachi teaches, who will announce when the Messiah will come. And so I have a book, among other books, called Tales of Elijah the Prophet by a master Jewish storyteller, Penina Shram. And I look to find tonight a story that would both talk about Elijah, but since it's also about Joshua and succession, I found a story that was entitled The Emissary of Elijah the Prophet, which deals with how to find a new rabbi. So I was in the mood to tell a story, and let me share. It's a little bit edited. It's a little bit longer in the book, I hope. Once upon a time, in Eastern Europe, there was a small town, not so small, the town of Lublin, and they had a beloved rabbi. And he continued to be their rabbi until the approach of the end of his life, and they said, as he was clearly moving toward the end, they said, "Rabbi, you have been so central in our lives. You have been so beloved. Guide us. You have guided us throughout our lives, but now guide us with this most important need. How will we find a rabbi to replace you?" And he said, "Well, after I die, the first person here in Lublin to get sick, go to that individual, for he will be able to guide you as to finding the right rabbi." So the rabbi dies shortly thereafter, and then as they look around Lublin, the members of that community are left with a problem. How do they find out who's the next person to get sick? So they go to the Chevra Kadisha, the burial society, and they say, "We need your help." And the Chevra Kadisha says, "Wait, you're getting ahead of myself. Didn't you tell me that the instructions is sick, not dying?" So they said, "Yeah, but you know the people who do the Hachnasat Cholim, the ones who go visit the sick, the Bikur Cholim. Maybe they can tell you and you will tell us who's the first person to get sick. We need a big net." And so, as time goes on, the Bikur Cholim comes to the burial society, the visiting of the sick, and they said, "You know, there's a poor man. He lives by himself on the outskirts of town. He's a tailor, and he's taken up sick. We visited him, and we're excited. We don't know this man. He lives a little bit at a distance from the center of town. But that was the instruction. Go find the person who's the first one who's sick after I die, and he's going to guide you." So they go to this man, they representative group from the synagogue, and they tell him the story. And he says, I don't understand what you want from me at all. I am not a scholar. I understand the huge responsibilities of being a rabbi, and I understand how beloved your rabbi was. I really don't see how I can be of help to you. I'm not by any means qualified. And they said, but those are our instructions. Could we at least read to you a list of towns here in our general area of the Pale of Poland, and maybe one of these towns will strike you if you've known of a rabbi in one of these towns, to at least say, that will be your rabbi. And he says, okay, I don't know what I can do, but I'll listen. And so they begin to read to him the shtetls, the small towns in the area, and they come to the shtetl of Ochov, and he says, Ochov, yes, I know the rabbi in Ochov. He's your next rabbi. Go to Ochov, and if for any reason he says, who am I to go to Lublin from a small town? You tell him that Yankel the tailor told you to go. So they send a delegation to Ochov. They're very excited. But as they're getting ready to go, the tailor dies. Sure enough, the illness leads to his death too. Bereft, urgent, the delegation reaches Ochov. They go to the rabbi and they say, you know, our rabbi died in Lublin. It's a bigger town. And we've done our homework. We've decided from what we have heard that you're the leader that we need. And he says, I'm sorry, but the position I have as the rabbi of my community is the same position that my father held, that my grandfather held. I was born here in Ochov. I'm not leaving. This is my home. And they said, but you don't understand. Lublin is such a beautiful city. It's a big place. You will love it there. There's so many more opportunities for you to teach. He says, I'm sure I would be engaged, that I would find good students, but this is home. And so they look at each other and they pull out their last plea. And they say, but you know, let us tell you how we came to you. There was this tailor or Yankel in Lublin, and he said to use his name, and that in doing so you would come. And he said, Yankel the tailor? He's the one who sent you? Okay, I'll come. So they say to him, why? Why would you come now? We want you. Please, don't change your mind. But we really didn't know Yankel so well. He was kind of set apart in his own world. And then the rabbi smiled and he said, you don't know who he was? Yankel, the tailor? He was one of the Lamed Vav Tzadikim. He was one of those 36 righteous for whom the whole world depends. And I'll tell you how I know. Once I was in my study a number of years ago, and a stranger who would turn out to be Yankel the tailor came in. And he said to me, I come with urgent news. You need to have your community sequester themselves, for there's an illness going around. And unless they all go indoors and take care of themselves and guard themselves, they too could catch this plague. And I hadn't heard of that there was something going in our community of that kind of danger. I said to him, that's a big ask of my people. How would you know such a thing? And he said, well, I'll tell you the truth. Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet, came and told me. And Elijah sent me to tell you so you could protect your community. So the rabbi says, I would like some more proof. It's a very big ask. I myself, who's dedicated my life to study, have never encountered Eliyahu Hanavi. I long for him, but I've never met him. Why would he come to you and not come to me directly? The uncle says, look, why he came to me and not to you directly, that I don't know. But you know, I don't have really control over Eliyahu. And the rabbi says, but without more proof, without at least the opportunity to see Elijah, I don't need to talk to him. Let me just see him, and then I'll go to work. And so he waited in a moment of silence, and he reached into his pocket, and he pulled out a handkerchief, and he said, look, if I give you this handkerchief and you place it over your face, you might have this vision of Elijah, but know that it's very powerful. It's such an experience that not everybody is prepared for it. And without even saying a word, the rabbi reached out and grabbed the handkerchief and he put it on his face and he fainted. And when the uncle revived him, he said, it's true. When I put that handkerchief on my face, I saw Eliyahu HaNavi. What a sight. My heart couldn't take it, but thank God I'm still alive. And so the rabbi ordered all the people of his community that when they went out in public to wear a mask, he ordered that they stay indoors and maintain physical distance because, you know, the plague is not to be seen and it was dangerous. And sure enough, many in his town sadly became ill, but not the members of his community. And thereafter he said to himself, how indebted I am to Yankel the tailor. And so he said to his delegation, I owe him my life, my community's life. I will be your rabbi. And so it was that the rabbi became the rabbi of Lublin. And some say that Elijah continued to bring miracles to enable the Jews of both Ochav and Lublin to flourish. And the community celebrated that they too had a rabbi who was chosen by their previous rabbi and had come to them by no small miracle. Ribono Shalom, Master of the universe, we long for Elijah, who we are taught is the reincarnation of Pinchas. We long for Elijah, for he is the one who tests us that we might be ready with discipline and a caring heart to be prepared to welcome no less than the Messiah. May we be worthy of encountering Elijah and helping heal our world. Amen.